Okay, let's dive right into this. I'm going to start off by sharing an insight that might sound, well, completely backward at first, but it totally shifted my perspective. And it's this: building discipline is actually meant to be easy. I know. You're probably sitting there thinking, okay, if it's so easy, why can't I just do it? Why do I struggle so much while other people just make it look completely effortless? You might even think that being disciplined just isn't in your DNA. Well, welcome to this explainer. Today, we're going to challenge those thoughts head on and explore a completely different approach. Because that hardcore, extreme discipline you see plastered all over social media, the stuff that's supposed to motivate you, it actually might be pushing your growth into the negative and completely wrecking your self-esteem. We've taken a pretty straightforward, simple concept and made it incredibly terrifying, but today, we fix that. Now, what's really interesting about this slide is our simple roadmap for today. First, we'll look at why discipline feels so incredibly hard. Second, we'll dive into willpower and reminders. And finally, we're going to break down 4 shockingly easy discipline habits. All right, part 1. Why does discipline feel so hard? To understand this, we really need to talk about the myth of the born achiever. And this brilliantly illustrates exactly what we're up against. Let's be totally real for a second. We have all sat there feeling helpless, frustrated, and honestly, completely inadequate, wondering why we can't just stick to a routine. You've probably watched 100 videos, pumped yourself up, only to completely fall off the wagon 2 days later. The over-motivation culture has basically brainwashed us into believing that super successful people are just born different, like they were genetically engineered to be disciplined, and the rest of us were just left behind. I mean, we are constantly bombarded with extreme routines. You hear about Elon Musk grinding out 100-hour work weeks. You see David Goggins waking up at 3 a.m. to go run 20 miles. You read about Virat Kohli putting in 2 hours of grueling strength training every single day. But ask yourself this: do you actually need these extremes in your daily life? Why on earth do you need to wake up at 3 a.m. or work 100 hours? Listen, these people aren't crazy. They do this because their specific world-class professions demand that level of absolute extreme discipline. If Musk didn't work those hours, his companies wouldn't run. But you have normal life priorities. And comparing your starting line to the finish line of people whose professions literally demand extremes, that is a toxic trap. It kills your progress before you even take your first step. Think about it like this. Imagine someone who has literally never hiked a day in their life suddenly trying to climb Mount Everest. It's impossible, right? They'd fail immediately. But guys, that is exactly what you are doing when you try to adopt these extreme, punishing routines on day 1. Everyone, and I mean even the world's most successful people, starts their discipline journey from absolute zero. You simply cannot conquer Mount Everest without conquering a small hill first. Discipline isn't just some magic switch you flip on. It's a trainable muscle that has to be developed gradually over time. The only reason it feels so incredibly hard right now is simply because you're trying to climb Everest on your very first day. Moving on to part 2, willpower and reminders. It is time to literally rewire your brain for discipline. To do this, we really have to change the narrative. We need to stop focusing on who is genetically gifted with discipline and focus instead on how the actual mechanics of discipline work inside your brain. To rewire our beliefs, we have to understand that there are essentially 2 very different types of tasks that require discipline. So the first bucket is what we call timely reminders. These are your simple tasks. Think about drinking a glass of water, writing a quick entry in a journal, or just dropping down to do 10 push-ups. These actions don't require you to fight a massive internal battle, right? You just need a prompt. If an alarm goes off on your phone right now telling you to drink water, you'll just quietly and easily do it. It's incredibly easy to automate these simple, zero-struggle tasks just by setting a basic phone alarm. This is your foundation. So the crucial point is, the second category is your willpower bucket. Now, these are the inherently difficult tasks. Imagine you set a goal to go to the gym at 4 p.m. You remember it perfectly well, you know you should go, but when 4 p.m. actually rolls around, man, that extreme laziness just hits you like a brick wall. You don't want to go. Now, this isn't a reminder problem anymore. This is a willpower problem. Going for a run in the cold morning, sitting down to study, practicing a tough new skill, these require actual internal drive to push through that heavy resistance. To build real discipline from scratch, you need habits that specifically test and train this willpower muscle, right alongside those super easy reminder tasks. Which brings us to part 3, 4 easy discipline habits and the incredible domino effect. Now that we actually understand the mechanics of how this works, we are going to cover 4 highly specific habits that target both your reminder bucket and your willpower bucket. And by implementing these, you're going to create a massive, life-altering positive change. Here is your clear, simple roadmap. The 4 domino habits we're about to break down are 1. Meditation, 2, waking up at the same time. 3, never skipping a workout. And 4, quitting sugar. And I want to reassure you right now, you absolutely do not need to be superhuman to do these. These are highly accessible, everyday starting points, completely designed to trigger a domino effect of discipline into every single other area of your life. Let's start by looking at habit 1, meditation, or training the mind to focus. Now hold on, wait a second. I can already feel some of your immediate resistance through the screen. You might be thinking, meditation? Yeah, right, I can't do that, I'm out of here. What does sitting with my eyes closed have to do with being disciplined? Well, actually, it has literally everything to do with it. Because discipline at its core is entirely about controlling your impulses. And meditation? It is the ultimate training ground for impulse control. Just look at the scientifically backed benefits here, they're amazing. Meditation actively trains you to control your thoughts and emotions. It dramatically improves your focus and attention. Studies even show it physically increases the gray matter in your brain associated with self-control. No way, right? The source material gives this brilliant, super easy strategy to start. Just set 3 daily alarms on your phone, 1 for the morning, 1 for the afternoon, and 1 for the evening. Whenever that alarm rings, just do 5 minutes of meditation. You can use free apps like Medito to guide you. At first, you'll probably hit all 3. Over time, you might naturally drop down to just 1. But by tying it directly to a timely reminder alarm, you effortlessly trick your brain into building a daily habit without any of the struggle. And that brings us right to habit 2, wake up at the same time every day. Notice I didn't say 3 a.m., just the exact same time. Scientific research heavily suggests that how you start your very first waking moments dramatically influences the quality of your decisions for the entire rest of the day. Jocko Willink has this absolutely perfect rule for this. He says, the snooze alarm is the dream killer. Think about it. When that alarm rings, your primal instinct is just to smash that snooze button as hard as you can. But when you do that, you are literally killing your discipline in the very first 10 seconds of your day. You are basically starting your entire day with a defeat. You absolutely must prioritize your goals over immediate temporary comfort. Getting out of bed immediately without hitting snooze actively trains your brain to make the harder, better choice. It signals to your mind that your long-term ambitions are way more important than 9 extra minutes of warm, cozy blankets. In this tiny, tiny morning victory, it builds a massive wave of daily momentum that carries right into your afternoon and evening decisions. Let's move to and see how this builds into habit 3, never skip your workout. Now, this introduces the physical aspect of discipline, but more importantly, it deeply connects to your mental resilience. It sounds super simple, but honestly, its impact is profound. Workout sits squarely in your willpower bucket. Pushing through that physical discomfort greatly enhances your mental discipline and self-control. It improves your stress management, giving you a much clearer head. When you consistently show up for your workout, you build this rock-solid commitment that naturally spills over into your career, your relationships, and your other personal goals. And listen, you do not need a fancy, expensive gym membership to start this. Start small. The source recommends just committing to 10 push-ups at a fixed time right at home. That tiny bit of friction, that is more than enough to start strengthening your willpower muscle. And finally, we reach habit 4, quit sugar. Okay, I'll acknowledge right now this is definitely the toughest one on the list. It sounds intimidating, and for sure it is going to test you. But its impact on the overarching domino effect is absolutely massive, and it really just cannot be ignored if you want true mastery over your self-control. Because the details here are absolutely vital. Sugar doesn't just affect your waistline, it quite literally hijacks your brain. High sugar intake causes severe energy crashes and actually impairs your cognitive function. Have you ever felt that extreme brain fog and just overwhelming laziness at like 3 p.m.? Yeah, that's your willpower literally draining away because of a blood sugar crash. By eliminating or heavily reducing sugar, you stabilize your energy, you drastically improve your mental clarity, and you directly preserve that precious willpower you need to actually stay disciplined throughout your entire day. Which leads us perfectly to our final thought for this explainer. Are you ready to climb your first small mountain? We've stripped away the toxic myths of those crazy extreme routines. We've learned that discipline definitely isn't genetic, it's just a mix of smart reminders and slowly trained willpower. By using meditation, waking up at the exact same time, starting a small daily workout, and cutting out sugar, you are taking those crucial first steps. Remember, you aren't leaping to Mount Everest today, you're just conquering the little hill right in front of you. So the only question left is, will you set your first alarm and take that small step today?